Hello and welcome to Ryno's Ravens Review. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Well, what can you say about this game? It's a very terrible loss. Yes, Baltimore Ravens lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ravens 16, Steelers 18. I've got a whole list of notes, things I want to say. Bad decisions. That's really what it boils down to. Bad decisions by Lamar. Bad decisions by the coaching staff. Really Harbaugh and Munkin. I'm looking at you two. Bad ball security. Wow, man. Really three, I guess. Crucial giveaways. Really based on ball security where defenders just ripped the ball out of Ravens' hands. That's really what it is. Yes, that one was called an interception by Lamar, but it really was more like a fumble, honestly. And then a kicker with the yips. That's where I'll start with. It has to be the yips with Justin Tucker. It's not that he doesn't have the ability to kick field goals anymore. He has the leg strength. It's not about the leg strength. Even if he could only, as far as leg strength goes, kick a 59-yard field goal. We'll take that. I mean, what? So what? He can't kick a 60-yard field goal anymore. Oh no, that's so terrible. Well, you have a quarterback who allegedly earned 2 MVP trophies. Does it matter that your kicker can't kick a 60-yard field goal anymore? No. It's between his ears. It really is. To a certain extent, maybe it is that he thinks he needs more leg strength because he's getting older. He's been kicking for what, 12 years? Well, I guess 12 was his first year, so this would be his 13th year. That's a long time. I mean, you know how old Justin Tucker is? In his mid-30s? Does he feel like his leg strength is going because of his age? Sure, it's possible you lose a lot of things as you get older. Could it be, and I feel like the struggles for Justin Tucker have been happening in the past few years. Well, what else has happened in the past few years? Well, Sam Cook retired, and the Ravens let Morgan Cox go. Wolfpack is no more. From everything I've heard, read, understood about the process, at least for Justin Tucker and the Ravens go and their kicking thing, Sam Cook, Morgan Cox, Justin Tucker were a team for a long time. And that's your long snapper, your holder, and your kicker. It is a very precision-based thing. It's the long snapper has to hold the ball a certain way, before he snaps the ball. And then he has to snap it a certain way so it gets to the holder a certain way so the holder can catch the ball a certain way and be able to get it down in time. Rush is coming, so this all needs to happen really fast. And, the kicker has to be X amount of yards back at a certain angle. He needs I don't even know that he really runs up to it. He more like trots up to the spot and kicks it. And if the timing isn't correct, can that throw things off? And to a certain extent, if the timing is thrown off and you're the kicker, but the ball is technically there, isn't that that's a mental thing. Just deal with it. Kick the ball. So could the fact that, the Ravens broke up the Wolfpack. Well, Sam Cook wanted to retire. He was getting old. Do you really want an old punter just there to be your holder? You ask me. And Morgan Cox and the long snapper. I don't exactly know what happened there. He's with Tennessee. He's on the Tennessee Titans roster right now. At least that's what ESPN.com told me. Why is he not a Raven anymore? Well, he probably wanted more money. He was getting older. He wanted to get a new guy in there because, I looked it up. Morgan Cox is 38. I mean, how much longer is he going to be able to be a long snapper in the NFL? It's debatable. And you lost Sam Cook, so you already had to break up the Wolfpack, so you might as well get the replacements in there at the same time so they can grow together. At least that's what sounds like at least one reason why the decision was made to let Cox go. I feel like the Ravens actually drafted the long snapper, which seems crazy. Like, you would actually spend a draft pick on a long snapper? Well, if your kicker is Justin Tucker and everybody wants to say he's the greatest kicker of all time, which I guess is technically debatable, this little yip, this moment of yips that he's having right now, I don't know. But does this have something to do with it? Sure. Could the fact that, let's say, these new kickoff rules, does that have any play into it? And where you can't have people over here, you can't have them over here, you have to have people lined up here and here and here or here, which seems odd, but whatever. Has there been more emphasis that kickers kind of need to join the kick return coverage? To a certain extent, it's a fairly drastic change to the, from the way the kickoffs have been going past several years. Could that be in his head? Could he be focusing on how to tackle more or better? Sometime during practice, is he putting some effort into tackle practicing or hitting the weight room so he's strong enough to make a tackle? Could that be taking away from, let's say, practice time with the new Wolfpack? It's possible. It is a possibility. Maybe the fact that he's got such a good leg and has had so much a habit of kicking the ball out of the end zone, now that gets moved to the 30-yard line. Could the fact that he is now putting pressure on the defense, more pressure on the defense, be affecting him? It could. I mean, as far as I can tell, he's got the yips. So, who knows what's affecting him? Maybe he needs to do the tin cup thing, take all the things from his left pocket and put them in his right pocket and turn his hat around backwards. He needs to get out of his own head. But that does happen. Talking about the ball security. It was obvious very early in the game that the Steelers were going for the football. They were going for that strip. You saw it a lot. Patrick Queen he's been a big baby about it. They let me go. They didn't offer me a contract. I'm mad at them. Well, you know what? I'm mad at you, jackass. Because you're so mad at us. You didn't even play that good when you was here. Yeah, they weren't going to offer you a contract. They just paid Lamar Jackson how many millions of dollars? You thought they were going to pay you too? You didn't do a whole lot while you were here. And you know what? You haven't been doing a whole lot in Pittsburgh. How many sacks Patrick Queen got on the year? Okay. Yeah. I mean, okay, he's got a whole bunch of tackles. It's not that big a deal. Okay. How many turnovers he got? How many sacks he got? Okay, so he got one turnover in the Ravens game. Pretty sure I looked at his stats and didn't have much of anything else going on for the rest of the year. Patrick Queen not that good. He not. Is he doing better in Pittsburgh than he was doing in Baltimore based on the stats I see? No. He's doing the same. Whatever. But still. Holy shit. Hold on to the football. You see them coming for the football. You synced it. Put two hands on the football. Something. I'm looking at you, Derrick Henry and Isaiah Likely and Justice Hill. Holy shit. Fight for the damn football. It's your football. But you gotta fight for it. You can't just, oh, it's a football. I'm an offensive player. I'm allowed to do whatever I want. Because that's kind of, the way the NFL is going. You have to hold on to the football. Defenders think the football as much as theirs as it is yours. So yeah, they're going to come for it. Hold on to the damn football. Tool bags. Coaching decisions. Ravens defense gets a stop. With 38, 39 seconds left in the first half, Pittsburgh is perfectly content to punt the football away. They were actually losing at that point. They were losing. They had 2 field goals, and the Ravens had a touchdown and an extra point. So, 7-6 Ravens. You had 39 or 30? It was either 39 or 38 seconds. So they punt the ball away, pinned the Ravens deep. Yeah, so Ravens starting at the 9-yard line. I don't care how many timeouts you got. Who cares? You got 39 seconds. Excuse me. To do what? Go 91 yards for a touchdown? Or, what did I write down? 51 yards. 51 yards to try a 57-yard field goal with Justin Tucker and his yips. That was a good decision. I know hindsight, and you know what? Brandon Hyde isn't the manager of the Baltimore Ravens, so I can't do my hindsight reference, but I do understand that it's hindsight here. But don't tell me that was a good decision. 39 seconds. The average play takes, at least 6 seconds off the clock. So you got about time for what? Maybe 7 plays? Whew. And that's if you can get the clock stoppages after all the plays. With your timeouts, yeah, you could. But then you got to get out of bounds on some of the other plays. And you really think you can get 51 yards? And again, that's for a 57-yard field goal attempt by Justin Tucker. Now, does the problems of Justin Tucker have anything to do with that? Were you more inclined to push down the field to give Tucker an opportunity because you feel like if you give Tucker an opportunity to hit that 57-yard field goal and he makes it, it boosts his confidence? That go into the decision? Possibly. Sounds like a thing. Hell, if I thought about it, I know somebody on the Ravens coaching staff thought about it. Right? But still, you were winning the ball game. Gave it up just like that. And you know what? The defense held. All those missed field goals and all those forced fumbles. You know what? Yeah, Pittsburgh got points off of them, but you know what? Pittsburgh Steelers didn't get a damn touchdown the whole game. 2 fumbles and an interception, which to a certain extent in my mind it really is a fumble. 3 turnovers by the offense. Several, well, at least one. Pittsburgh and the Steelers, their offense already in the red zone. And the defense didn't give up no touchdowns? Okay. Obvious it wasn't the defense's fault that they lost. Obvious. Other decision, Todd Monken. Some of his dumbass play calls. Really, it's the 2-point try at the end of the game that just leaves me puzzled. You have trips to the left. You got Andrews on the right side. You got a back. Who was it in the backfield? And it was, you sent Tylan Wallace in motion on some jet sweep dump. Ricard. Yeah, Ricard was on the field. And it's like, what? You didn't even have Derrick Henry in there. You had, who'd you have? You had Likely, Andrews, Card, Flowers, and Aguilar, right? What? Hell, you had Nelson Aguilar there trying to get an edge block on the left side. What? Nelson Aguilar? That's the guy you want to block the left side? And it essentially the lead run side because Mar runs to the left. You send Tylan Wallace and Ricard out to the right. It didn't follow them. I'm sorry. You called a run play and you didn't follow Pat Ricard. How does that make sense to you? That doesn't make sense to me at all. What kind of dumbass decision was that? Why have Ricard on the field in the first place? Oh, I'm sorry. That's Justice Hill. Never mind. My bad. I just rewinded. I'm looking at it. It is Justice Hill. It's Justice Hill out there on the right, followed by Wallace. Andrews is just kind of chilling in the middle of the field there. Likely's trying to set a block. He actually does a good job setting the block there. Of course, he has the help of Stanley. Aguilar kind of gets blowed up in there. But again, like, why is it Nelson Aguilar? It's weird. Very weird. Hell, why is it Justice Hill, not Derrick Henry? I feel like if it's Derrick Henry running out there to the right, maybe you get another Pittsburgh Steeler to go with him. But again, it's like on these weird third down plays, you're like, oh, I want Justice Hill in there. Okay, he's a good player. I'm not trying to say he's a terrible player, but like, why are more of your better offensive players not on the field? I wouldn't pick Aguilar as my second receiver. Actually, you know what? Likely Andrews, Hill, Tylan Wallace, Aguilar. Yeah, that's who is on the field, right? Yeah, I'm looking right at it. Aguilar 15, Likely 80. That's Mark Andrews. No Zay Flowers, no Bateman, no Ricard, no Henry. I get the Mark Andrews and the Isaiah Likely. Those are good choices. I'm okay with Tylan Wallace because of maybe some of the things you've seen him do over the past few weeks. The jet sweep, maybe you can get a few guys to go with him. You do have 3 Pittsburgh Steelers that are going out to the right over there. Okay. But Nelson Aguilar, you got Nelson Aguilar on the edge trying to block. And another reason I don't like it, it's this, it really looks like a design run, and you're trying to block the edge with Nelson Aguilar. Andrews, again, it has like nothing to do. So you got Likely and you got Aguilar on the left side with Lamar. You got a few offensive linemen, but that's it. Likely's engaged in a block, and so is Aguilar. So Lamar's running to the left, and he has no skill position guy to, let's say, maybe a run pass option coming across the field. That's another thing. It's like Andrews just there chilling. It's like, you know, the play is supposed to go the way it's supposed to go. Maybe, of course, at the same time, Andrews was in the middle of the field, and technically he was open, but at the same time, Lamar kind of has his back running away from him. You got to come over towards Lamar. But it's like nobody did that. Just kind of standing there, looking at him, trying to let him do it all himself, which sometimes he does kind of want to just do that. But at the same time, you kind of got, between Likely and Andrews, eventually Likely does disengage. At least one of you's got to get over in that corner in front of Lamar. At least give him an option. Because otherwise, he has no other option instead of, just trying to fight through all the Steelers himself. Which I've always thought that his best weapon is not his arm or his legs. It is his mind. And using the threat of him running and him getting out of the pocket to set up a throw. I've always thought that that was the best weapon he has. Do I want him to use his arm to complete passes? Yes. Do I want him to use his legs to pick up some yards? Yes. But do I really want him to use his mind and set up some pass plays with his legs, with the threat of his legs? Yes, absolutely. That is not what that play was. And that's why it didn't work. I also feel like it should have went to the right. Okay, that is probably what Pittsburgh was thinking. But you know what? There weren't that many people on the right side of the defensive formation, or at least as the play continued. They all kind of followed Lamar, which they were probably going to do anyway. They were going to have at least one guy sticking on Lamar. Maybe go to the right. Because it is kind of hard to throw, at least a right-handed quarterback, to throw when he's running out to the left. A lot easier when he's running out to the right. So why didn't you just do that? You're trying to confuse everybody. And you know what? You probably confuse yourself. Why are you trying to get so cute with it? You're actually running to the left and essentially taking away a pass option. Dumb. Dumb. Just dumb. Of course, maybe if you had Derrick Henry on the field, maybe the run actually comes back into play. Because I'm sure they would focus on Derrick Henry a little bit. A little bit. Maybe even to a point that maybe they stack more inside and therefore harder for them to get outside. But don't listen to me. Do your thing and lose games. Let's get to Lamar. He really didn't take off enough. All right, and get to a few stats. I wasn't going to get into that many stats, but I might as well. So you can see I'm on BaltimoreRavens.com. Let's get to the Game Center page. Look at some of these stats. First of all, 16 of 33 passing. Like, this is what I'm saying, man. It's like, come on now. And Lamar Jackson, 4 rushing attempts. Wow. That's it? Ah. Excuse me. He does get in these modes sometimes. And especially it's when big games. Ravens, Steelers. Lamar versus Mahomes. I don't think Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow are quite big games yet. Just feel like the Bengals as a football team organization do not have the same kind of track record and therefore have not cemented themselves yet. I mean, if Joe Burrow keeps things up and he can keep Jamar Chase there, who knows, right? And he just makes bad decisions. I mean, you see it all the time. He gets in these mode. Let's see what I wrote here. Gets in these modes in a big game where he wants to throw the ball all the time. 16 for 33. That's a lot of incomplete passes. That is a lot of incomplete passes. That is actually more incomplete passes than completed passes. But you're right. Keep throwing the football. Don't know if it's his knee and he is why he doesn't want to run on some of these plays, or if it flat out he just chokes. He chokes in big moments. Primetime games, I don't think are really big moments. Especially not a primetime game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know? Primetime game against Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, yes. Primetime game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, yes. Primetime game or game against, the Browns or the Bengals, not really, no. I mean, they're close. But it's like there's meaningful games, and then there's like big games. The big moment against the team and the quarterback that you are going to have to go through if you want to get to the Super Bowl. And at the same time, your most heated, hated division rival, who you're probably going to have to go, as based on the records now, who you're going to have to go through if you want to win the division. Those are big games, right? Not that any other games, they don't matter or anything. It's just, there's big games and then there's big games, right? I mean, is it his knee that's bothering him because he is on an injury report like that? Or does he just choke? He's not MV3, he is MV choke. And you know what? Go ahead, criticize me all you want. I welcome Lamar Jackson proving me wrong. I welcome it. It still benefits me. Because then the Ravens do well. I call it like I see it because it's what I see. He choked. He choked in the championship game. He had several opportunities to take off and run for a few yards. Several. Okay, he's not going to be running for 80 yards. Who the hell cares? Sometimes you do have to take what the defense gives you. You just do. I mean, if they're only going to rush 4 and they're going to drop 7 into coverage, a lot harder to complete passes. Duh. All right, before I get into that, oh, then I mentioned this. Everybody wants to say how good Lamar is, especially recently. But nobody seems to want to mention all the poor decisions he's made. Or all the poor throws he's made. I mentioned the poor throw at, I guess it was the last game, to Bateman. It was a deep shot. And if he leads Bateman, and it was, over top of him, he'll hit Bateman in the hands. Hopefully Bateman catches it. But again, inaccuracy. And he's shown that before. I mean, even the ball to Justice Hill in this Steelers game, if he leads Hill more, Hill catches it more out in front of him instead of, back here, bringing the defender, who was actually in a trail position, bringing the defender back into play. And allowing the defender to get in there and catch the ball. Get his hands on the football and rip it out. If he catches it out here, defender's arm's just not long enough. But if Hill's got to come back here to it. But again, the inaccuracy of Lamar passing. It's real. It is real. And then, but again, it's like nobody wants to mention that. They want... I do feel like the NFL and their announced teams do kind of want to dictate the narrative there. High scoring. Quarterbacks are great. Passing. It's all great. Just because they feel like they can make more money that way, I guess. I mean, I guess I kind of understand you don't want to talk bad about, oh, this was a bad play. That was a bad play. This player made a bad decision here. Maybe that just gets people in a down mood about the NFL. But at the same time, it's honesty. Is honesty not a good thing? I guess it depends on who you talk to. I'm definitely a brutally honest person most of the time. Now, on to other thought. A huge thought that I'm thinking here is, especially in these big games, and we talked about it after the AFC Championship game. Sometimes you have to give what the defense gives you. Take what the defense gives you. Excuse me. The defense drops back in coverage, and actually giving you running lanes. Okay, well, I guess they're thinking, oh, somebody has their back to the skill position players front facing Lamar, and they can just step up, and he won't get big gains. Sure, but you know what? If they're going to give you the 5 yards, take the 5 yards. Maybe slide. Oh, your knee bothering you? Maybe stop trying to fight through tacklers like you're a damn running back. You want to throw the ball because you want to be a quarterback and not a running back. Well, when you do run the football, don't run the football like a running back. Slide. That's why they made it. That's why they made the slide a thing. So you as the quarterback can protect yourself. But you know what? You can still move the ball down the field. Because you are one of the 11 men out there on offense. You have the right to move the football. Do it. Do it. But no, you don't want to do it. Because, I don't know. The logic doesn't make sense. You know? You don't want to run because you want to be a quarterback. But yet when you do run, you run like a running back. Yeah? Or at least you finish runs like a running back would finish runs. Instead of the way a quarterback should finish runs. You do. All the time. All the time. So, I don't know what the hell you're thinking there. And why you got to take what the defense gives you. Checkdowns. Todd Monken, I feel like a lot of his plays don't have a check down. I feel like in that Cincinnati game, they're getting checked down all the time. And we used to mention that about Flacco all the time, taking a check down. I mean, taking the 5 yards isn't that bad. I feel like we had check down Joe, who would always take the check downs, at least at the end of his Ravens tenure. And now we have Lamar, who never takes the check down. Or never even has the check down. Of course, to a certain extent, I'm sure that Todd Monken is thinking, your check down, Lamar, is to run 5 yards and slide before you get hit. But yet Lamar won't do it. He won't do it. It's not that he can't. It's he will not do it. And at this point, after 6 years, Lamar refuses to do it. That's where we're at right now. Because it isn't that he can't do it. It isn't that nobody has told him to do that. Because in the 6 years, has really nobody told him to do that? It's he refuses to do it. Because why? Because he wants to be a quarterback, so he wants to throw the ball. But then, again, when he does run, he finishes runs like a running back. Again, I mean, with the checkdowns, like Todd Monken, he's giving you the option here. He's not giving you a check down, an outlet receiver, the check down, because you're sending them probably too deep for the most part, but that pushes the defense back. And if your line can block right, they'll give you the hole. There's your check down. It is essentially a run-pass option, except it's not really called that, and Lamar just doesn't see it. And yeah, I wrote that. Monken, I do think, wants Lamar to just take the 5 yards sometimes, and Lamar just won't do it. Maybe slide instead of taking unnecessary hits. That was my final thought on my notes there. Like, come on now. And I know what people are going to say. Oh, well, there was a minute left. The defense could have gotten a stop. Okay. All right. I mean, sure, they could have gotten a stop, I guess. The Ravens are really going to be able to score. I don't know about that one. But talking about the defense, let's go to some defensive numbers. I'm here on the NFL.com page. And I have to if I want to talk about defense, because BaltimoreRavens.com does not put defenders on the stat pages. Okay. Again, fumbles. Look at that. Man. Defense played well. I mean, yes, they gave up points, but you know what? 3 turnovers by the offense. Where were they? Where were they? Here, the first drive for Pittsburgh, they started on the Baltimore 42, about midfield. Wow, that's terrible. Here on this fumble, they start on the Baltimore 19. Yeah, Baltimore 42. I mean, they're giving the ball up. They give the ball up twice. 2 fumbles in their own territory. And yeah, I guess one was close to midfield. But here's the interception. Yeah, starting on the Pittsburgh 36. So that one wasn't as bad. But again, they were able to turn it into points. They were able to turn it into field goals. But at the same time, it's like, you're only giving up the field goals here. Only giving up field goals. There's a whole bunch of more passes defensed here. You got Marlon Humphrey with 1, yes, and with an interception in the end zone. Adisa Isaac getting in some action here, knocking down a pass. It was a nice play by Adisa Isaac. Not too much playing time for him yet, anyway. He's getting in there, I think, to a certain extent. It is because he's young and just trying to get him in there. Hopefully, we'll see more of him. Brandon Stevens and Tre'Davious White, I feel like, had good games. Yeah, I feel like maybe, and I'm crossing my fingers here and knocking on some wood over here, but I feel like maybe either a light clicked on in Brandon Stevens' head or somebody finally got through to him. I feel like he is getting his head around a little bit more than he used to, because he used to not get his head around at all. I feel like he's getting his head around a little bit more. Just a little bit, though. Tre'Davious White, his first game action, looked pretty good. I mean, I don't know how fast Pickens for the Steelers really is, but based on the way the few plays Tre'Davious White was in there on, it's like a good pickup for the Ravens and Eric DeCosta. Yes, you may make an argument that says, oh, he was pass interfering the whole time. Like, well, it did look like on the one play, Pickens put his hand on him and just drove Tre'Davious White into the end zone. I mean, defender has a right to be at a spot on the field. If the wide receiver is going to contact the defender as much as the defender's contacting the wide receiver, why is that a penalty on anybody? If anything, it's a penalty on each of them. So why throw the flag? That's really what I saw there. Roquan Smith was having a very good game. And yeah, you look at the 7 tackles, 5 assists, 2 tackles for a loss. Oh, that's not that great of a game. Yeah, but that was like half the game because he left with a hamstring injury. Kyle Hamilton had a fairly good game. They did kind of switch up, like Marcus Williams, a healthy scratch again. And Darius Washington and Kyle Hamilton are kind of the 2 safeties now. And yeah, Hamilton playing a little bit more of a safety role. Not exactly the role I'd like to see him in. I'd like to see him a little closer to the ball. I feel like he can make those kind of plays, but you know, if no other safety on the team can do it, then, you know, you got to have him do it. But at the same time, once Roquan went down, I feel like you got to get Kyle Hamilton back in the box. Because I feel like on one of those plays on the last drive where the defense is trying to make a stop, Justin Fields rolls out to the left, and it's like nobody else out there. Hamilton sees it, but Hamilton's like 20 yards deep. So by the time he does come up to make the stop, Fields has already gained 9 yards. Which technically, If Hamilton was like 10 yards behind, off the ball, maybe Fields don't gain that many yards, and maybe the Ravens do get the ball back again. But not exactly a great decision in my opinion. But at the same time, who the hell else you putting back there at safety? Because I guess they're feeling like Eddie Jackson just isn't ready. But whatever. I mean, I just feel like when Roquan goes down, I feel like Hamilton's got to take more of a linebacker role. Because without Roquan in there, who else he got in there? Malik Harrison? Chris Board? No, I don't want that. I mean, those guys aren't even on this list here. Trenton Simpson's on the list. He had it okay. I mean, well, here's Malik Harrison. But he has been kind of in the outside linebacker rotation. But no, if anything, you had Kyle Hamilton back more, which seems kind of weird. Though, I mean, I will say, I feel like maybe they can make that switch and keep Kyle Hamilton kind of closer. I do feel like Darius Washington did a fairly good job at safety. I mean, he's a little shorter, but... Excuse me. I do feel like he was putting himself in better position than Marcus Williams, who... I don't know if he got the yips or not, but not making the greatest decisions there either. And again, on the defense here, look at Odafe Owe, 2.5 sacks. What? And I don't think the Ravens were necessarily bringing more pressure than they necessarily have been the whole year. I feel like it's kind of the normal pressure. It's just, I feel like Odafe Owe got in there more. I also do feel like, at least at certain points, Van Noy and Owe switched. Like, there were times where, at least on one of the sacks, I saw Owe was coming from the quarterback's right side instead of his normal left side, and Van Noy was coming from the quarterback's left side instead of his normal right side. So they definitely kind of switched that up a bit. And it did lead to a really nice sack and tackle by Owe. 2.5, and Stevens with half a sack. How about that? And Broderick Washington with a sack himself. I mean, that's like 4 sacks. I mean, that's... And several other tackle for losses. So I feel like the defense did their job much better than, they have been in other games. They did kind of get it together here. Which, it does look like you got some more help on the outside with Tre'Davious White. Probably a little bit better than, let's say, Jalen Armour-Davis. Give maybe Higgins and Stevens a bit of rest. And maybe even get them... I feel like Stevens kind of in the slot a little bit. Maybe not like all the time, but on a few plays, I feel like Stevens was in the slot, which is fine. I feel like he did okay there. So, it does feel like finally they're making some moves and adjustments on the back end, and it helped fairly well. But again, offense let you down. Cool. Great. Good job. And again, I mentioned this last video, or last review video. I feel like I still haven't seen this team play a complete 60 minutes of football. Because the offense didn't show up. Disappointing. Alright, let's get this schedule and get the hell out of here. Long enough here ranting about how the Ravens played a terrible shit game. This coming Monday night, yes, no Sunday football for the Ravens. They will play the next day, Monday Night Football. And they are traveling to Los Angeles to play the Los Angeles Chargers in SoFi Stadium. So, I feel like I might as well, since it's only like a day later, it's not like a Thursday game or anything. I feel like I might as well stick with my Saturday for the preview shows, but again, the review show I think will be after that. So again, Baltimore Ravens going to the Los Angeles Chargers. It's a Monday night game, and that is going to do it for this edition of Ryno's Ravens Review. Please stay tuned to our normal time Saturday for Ryno's Ravens Preview, and I'll preview the game between, again, the Ravens and the Chargers. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I am the Angry Ryno. Fly Ravens, fly.